Is there a cocktail more festive than eggnog? And you know that store-bought stuff can't hold a candle to something made with care and attention to details. Plus, you can give it your own twist, which is exactly what we'll do today. I'll show you how to make a banana-flavored eggnog with rum and homemade cacao liqueur. And if you make it to the bottom of the glass, you'll hear about how serious eggnogging can get. It will be a riot, so stay tuned. It's cocktail time. This won't be the first eggnog we'll make on cocktail time. We also made a special eggnog with gingerbread cookie syrup, rum and sherry. And we can't forget the Grinch-inspired green eggnog full of tropical flavors, which I then delivered to the Grinch's cave myself. That was a fun episode to shoot, so check it out if you have the time. But now it's time for the Banananog. Here's what you'll need for this one. The base will be rum and cacao liqueur, but you'll also need eggs, cream, milk, banana Oleo Saccharum and saline solution. For rum, I'll be using La Cesar's Experimental Series No. 2, the Banana Experiment. This fine-aged Colombian rum was matured in white oak casks and infused with a generous amount of organic sun-dried bananas. For cacao liqueur, you could use something like crème de cacao, but I promise this DIY version, which we already made on the channel, is excellent and super easy to make. So all you need to go over is how to make this banana and nutmeg Oleo Saccharum. Oh, and we'll also make beautiful torch meringues for garnish. But first, the Oleo Saccharum. I'll use organic bananas, some grated nutmeg, and sugar, which will pull the oils, juices, and flavor compounds from the peels and nutmeg. I'll need 250 grams of banana peels. Enjoy your bananas or put them in the freezer for a smoothie, then add the peels into a jar. This recipe will yield around 400 ml of Oleo Saccharum, which you can also use for a banana old-fashioned or other tropical twists. Follow that with half a gram of nutmeg. To expose more surface area to the sugar, I'll first crush it using a mortar and pestle. Add to the peels and do the same with 450 grams of sugar. I know this seems like a lot, but it will make a delicious syrup for your cocktails. As soon as the sugar touches the peels, it will start pulling out the oils and any liquid from our flavoring agents. We can speed up this process a bit by giving everything a quick muddle to push sugar into all the small pores. Then we wait, first for 24 hours, to help the sugar in its mission. Give it a nice stir. Since the sugar still has a ways to go to completely melt, I'll leave this to sit for another day. After that, it's time to filter out banana Oleo Saccharum through a fine strainer and bottle. Add a label and keep it in the fridge. We use the Oleo Saccharum in the garnish as well, but we can make that while today's eggnog chills in the fridge. So let's get to making the Banananog. We'll do this in 3 parts, then combine them for an amazing festive treat, with a little something special on top. I'm starting at the base, with the spirit. We can combine our liquid ingredients first, so mix 3.5 ounces or 105 ml of La Cesara banana infused rum, with 1.5 ounce or 45 ml of homemade cacao liqueur. And while I'm at it, I might as well add saline solution now. 8 drops will be enough to brighten and boost all of the flavors. The second part is the eggs. We're using 2 eggs, 1 whole egg and just the egg yolk for the second one. Save the egg white in the fridge since we'll need that for the garnish. Whisk with a hand mixer or medium speed for at least 2 minutes, so you get a consistent cream. At that point, I'm adding 2.5 ounce or 75 ml of our banana and nutmeg Oleo Saccharum. If you're looking for other tropical flavors, swap the Oleo Saccharum for Liber & Co.'s toasted coconut or pineapple gum syrups. Easy. Continue whisking for another minute. Once that's looking good, I'm moving on to the third part. We'll combine cream and milk separately, which will give our eggnog a creamy texture. First I'll whip 4 ounces or 120 ml of cream using a milk frother, a useful little tool, especially if it's rechargeable. I'll leave a link to this in the description. Once we add and mix in the milk, we're ready to combine everything we've made so far. Pour the milk and cream mixture into the eggs. Whisk gently to combine. Then add our liquid base of rum and cocoa liqueur. Whisk well enough to combine everything. Give it a quick taste, and knowing it will blow everyone's mind. Place it in the fridge to chill and for the flavors to mix and develop. I'd say a good 2 to 4 hours is ideal. That gives you plenty of time to get everything ready for your festive gatherings. Something we'll also need to make before serving is the garnish, the torch meringue. Let's do that now. To make them, you'll need the chilled egg whites, sugar and our Oleo Saccharum. Start by whisking the egg whites, using a hand mixer. Once they start to thicken, I'll add the sugar and Oleo Saccharum, 25 grams of each. continue whisking until you get stiff peaks. Just like that. Then scoop all of the meringue mixture into a piping bag with a wide nozzle, or cut a tip of a clean freezing bag and use that. Make sure you've got your piping technique down before you move on to serving the Banananog. As with everything that's chilled and then served without ice, I'd suggest using chilled glasses or cups. Scoop in the cocktail before we'll add the garnish. This should be enough eggnog for around 4 to 6 servings, depending on the size of your glass. This IKEA glass is pretty big. Add a dollop of meringue on top and have a torch ready. Burning it lightly will give it a subtle smoky caramelized aroma. We did something similar with the barbecue mint julep. Serve with a spoon and say cheers with a glass of Holiday Delight. The aroma boasts a hint of smokiness, blending perfectly with banana notes. The cocktail's texture is velvety and rich. Slightly funky banana and cocoa notes on the palate are spiced up with nutmeg. And when you go for the garnish, you'll get a subtle banana and caramel sweetness, perfectly rounding out this year's festive treat. With that, we've reached the bottom of the glass. Today I'll share a story of an actual riot that was caused by eggnog. Before I do, head down to the comments and post a banana emoji to let me know you've made it all the way to the end. So the eggnog riot occurred in 1896 at the West Point Military Academy when cadets, breaking rules, added whiskey to their eggnog. This festive rebellion turned into a full-blown riot, complete with property damage and disciplinary actions, making it a spirited chapter in the Academy's history. Pun intended. No need to riot on cocktail time. Here's 2 more eggnog recipes for you to try. I'll see you next time, friends of cocktails.